Welcome to episode 3, where I get some of the best Destiny 2 players in the world to shed some light on what sets them apart in contest raids and explain what we can do to get ready for the first epic raid. Today we have Datto, super well-known streamer and personality. Most Destiny players have heard of him already by now, but many, I'd guess, don't realize how great of a contest raider he is. Given he's one of the OGs who's been doing it longer than most, he is also one of the most consistently high-placing raiders in the world, being top 50 in the world's contest rankings. Given how consistent and great of a raider he is, he had a lot of insight for people going into the epic raid. So let's get into it. First question, for the first time in this contest race, Bungie is implementing Notswap, but it's not just Notswap, but it's a very different implementation than we've seen in the past. And even more different because it's different from what was communicated just a month ago. Now any stat value change is considered an armor swap. What do you think the system will mean for your average team going into the raid on Saturday?
Well, assuming this version of Notswap is truly the version that I thought that they were going to come out with, which is basically just like, we don't want you changing your stuff. I think at least some of the more modern teams, or maybe like newer teams, are going to have to like put a little more thought into, making sure they have coverage for all parts of an encounter, which is, for someone like myself, that's more of the approach that I used to go in with, a lot of the previous raid races that I've done. I'm a bit of a boomer on that side of things, just because, while you could swap armor and swap weapons here and there in the past, it's just generally something like you didn't really need to do, or like we didn't really have the optimization for. But at the same time, I do feel like there's, I know people really like to optimize every single aspect of every single thing that they're doing, but I also feel like it's not going to be that hard to lock in a loadout that, generally speaking, is able to handle most of what an encounter expects of you, right? Like I've been running around with, Peacekeeper type stuff for a little while now, and like there's not really a huge struggle there,
Right.
In most parts of the fight.
Do you think that illegal armor will see a bit of a resurgence then, or are armor set perks just worth more than any stat distribution?
No, I still think there will be plenty of illegal armor. I've been running with illegal armor. I know a lot of people who have been still running with illegal armor. And so I don't really expect that to change too much, even though, like, we can be fully kitted with tier 5. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, some people made a couple of small changes, maybe 1-2 armor pieces to kind of, like, round out their build or whatever if they don't need full stacks of super and weapons. But I fully expect the majority of people who have said armor to continue to run with that until it's proven that other builds can succeed as much as the builds running illegal armor are succeeding.
Gotcha. And that makes sense. For me, I think I was originally running, the Trials armor, and then I was running Smoke Jumper, but I think now instead I might end up sacrificing one of those armor perks just to make sure that I can make certain things work.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think
it's also just like, we have learned, like, we know how to play the game without those set bonuses, and like, yes, some of them are like pretty nice to have, but I think you can live without a lot of them, and people have learned how to live without them.
similarly, a month ago, Bungie told us that the damage and DR bonuses were going to be active by the artifact, but in this TWID, we just found out that they've revoked that. And in at least my opinion, it was a bit of a surprising move, given that they're making it's a relatively big change 2 days prior. What do you think it means for survivability and DPS for most teams on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't think it's as big of, like, the less hardcore you are, I think the bigger of a deal it can be. But I think, the top 100, 200, 300 teams can adapt on the fly, like, so quickly, because I imagine there's just so many people with so many different options available to them, and there's such a plethora of data and testing and, like, comms with all these different teams about, like, what are they running, what are these people running, let's test this, let's test that. So I don't really feel like it's going to affect people at the top end really that much. I think most people were honestly waiting for the ban list. Like, I think that was the biggest piece of information that people wanted to know, because entire damage strategies and entire setups and, you know, class distributions and subclasses will change based on like one or two weapons being banned. Whereas like the new gear stuff, it's like, okay, well, a lot of people are already going in with this illegal armor and this and that, and, you know, people at the top end have tons and tons of armor, and I know because I've done a bunch of vault cleanings recently with a lot of top players, and so I know that they're drowning in gear. But yeah, I think the ban list was a lot more important than any sort of like, we're, you know, going back on the new gear stuff.
Then, you know, in that same thread, you know, ban list, to me at least, it seemed pretty tame. I think my big concern was I'm going in as a Titan. I thought that there was the slightest chance that Peacekeepers could get banned. I thought that there was even maybe a 5 to 10% chance that Finalities could get touched. It kind of did with the change to the featured weapons, but overall tame. Did you have any thoughts on the ban list? Did it change anything for you?
For us, I mean, you know, we were obviously looking at the rocket launcher, and there was some discussion of swords, but we were already kind of going in with some assumptions of like, okay, well, they're probably not going to do anything to this, and they're probably not going to do anything to that. Like, I think some people, not in my team, but just generally speaking, were like, oh, are they going to ban Outbreak again? And it's like, well, no, they already nerfed the ever-loving crap out of that for the class that was really dominant with it, although, you know, it's still usable on Hunters. So like that was like, they're not going to ban that. It's kind of got bopped. So yeah, no, I agree. It was a lot more tame than I was expecting, just because of how many like bugs and glitched out things and things that are not working properly have been in the game for like the past month. So it's been tough to get like a read on like, God, what isn't going to be banned at this point. So yeah, I was surprised to only see 5 things on the list.
I kind of agree. I mean, I'm honestly expecting maybe 1 to 2 more things being added potentially in the next 24 hours or so. That said, honestly tame. The entire TWID kind of seemed tame to me. I think the only part that I was sort of miffed by was the communication and the timing of it. I feel like, you know, 2 days prior is probably the only thing, but you know, that's sort of kind of been
especially with how buggy the game has been recently.
You know, I'm hoping they go ahead and do a little bit better on that front, but we'll see. What do you suggest most teams do with their last 24 hours?
The slightest bit of practice, just a little. Take some time with the brain off. Take some time to just like sit around, relax a little bit. You know, obviously, like, go over your loadouts, do a quick run with the team, last-minute discussions, but then otherwise, like, you should not be, I don't think you should be grinding, like, 12 hours on the day before the raid. Like, you should be getting sleep. You should be drinking a bunch of water, making sure you get up early, take a shower, take some time to, like, relax, because you're going to be in the thick of it for at least a few hours, and you're going to want all the energy that you can possibly get. You're going to want to be as refreshed as you can be. So, like, I would not be up till, you know, 3 in the morning being like, oh, we got to do 1 more rep. It's like, you don't. You probably, it's much better to get some rest and be a little more relaxed going into it.
Do you have a go-to raid snack?
Water, and just like, I'll have like banana. I got some yogurt, some fruit.
Oh, it's
nothing too, just, you know, nothing. You don't want to get like, you know, Cheeto dust all over your fingers while you're trying to raid, right? So yeah, keep it super light. Like, I'm not gonna eat like a cheeseburger in the middle of this, right? Keep it very light. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too heavy on your stomach. You know, you want to be able to stay pretty clear. Have a freaking protein shake. You know, have something like that. Get some calories in you, but like nothing too heavy.
No, that's fair. That's healthier than I was gonna suggest, but definitely a good shot, especially with the sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, I've already ate up so much of your time, but any last
You're
advice
good.
for people going in on Saturday for their clear?
Specifically for Desert Perpetual, just like generally speaking as like a day one thing, because like the biggest piece of advice that I have for teams starting out doing contest rating is just like, it's a little late for this because it's, you know, gonna be like the day before or whatever,
Yeah.
but just making sure that everyone's on the same page and everyone's going in with the same attitude, right? It has very little to do with the actual raid itself. I have, and like me and my team have a lot of good chemistry because we've been together for years.
Yep.
Right? Since Last Wish, we've had a core group together, and then for like another 3 or 4 years, it was the same people. So like we know how our strengths and weaknesses are. We know like this person's good at this person's good at that, and we're all going in with like a very similar attitude. And I've seen so many teams go in, I've seen so many stories over the years of like, yeah, you know, like 4 of us were like really serious, and then but we couldn't find like a couple other people, so we just had to bring in, you know, some people who were not as serious, and like the serious people were pissing off the not serious people, and then the not serious people are pissing off the serious people. And like it's fine if you want to be serious. It's fine if you just want to get in there and like and mess around. But you got to make sure all 6 people are trying to mess around, or all 6 people are trying to be serious. Because if you don't, it's not going to be a good time, especially with how brutally difficult the last 2 raids have been.
Yep.
I think people should be going in with the expectation of the Epic Raid being kind of hard, right? Because that's just the pattern that has been established right now. And so you just gotta make sure everyone is on the same page. Everyone's got to know the moment it hits 10 o'clock, it's serious time, or it's we're just having a good time trying to clear whatever we can time. Whatever it is, pick one. Pick one and stick with it.
No, I think that's great advice. Honestly, I've spoken to a couple other people who have, you know, for this series, for, you know, who've gotten belts, who've got what had very, very high clears and all that stuff. And one of the biggest things that they keep mentioning to me, personality actually matters a lot. And playing with people who don't have an ego. That surprising. Honestly, I'm surprised at how often they bring that up. And it makes me happy that I'm going in the next one with friends, no matter how like serious or not we're taking it.
Yeah.
But that's absolutely
it's a
massive.
huge deal for team morale, right? Because all it takes is one person who's maybe got a little too much of an ego, or taking it maybe a little too seriously. They get pissed off, they leave. Now your whole raid group's completely broken, right?
Yep.
Like you now you got to start looking for a replacement and this and that, or you know, like you never want to get really into like super big shouting matches during the raid. Like, you know, my team yells at each other every once in a while, but like we're all on the same page. Like we know things are going to get heated, but we also know that like no one's probably going to just explode and then leave the team on a moment's notice in the middle of the raid. Like we're all on the same page. We're in there to beat it. But yeah, it's when we were looking for our replacements, I was like, you could give me like the best 2 players in the world, but if they have massive egos, I don't want them. I don't want them here, because I'd rather go down with the boys than like try to hire some mercenaries who are trying to ego and all this kind of stuff, and it creates a huge problem, right? So I care so much more about chemistry and making sure people are chill with the team and we're all on the same page, than, you know, just trying to recruit, you know, LeBron James to the team, right?
No, I think I completely agree with that. Especially because raid races are marathons, not sprints, so the morale is everything. But in that case, that was the last question I had. I appreciate you going over. It was really good to talk to you. Good luck on Saturday. I'll definitely be tuning in and seeing what you guys are up to. Looking forward to seeing you get across the line.
Thank you, gamer. You too.
And that's that. Good luck to anyone racing or participating in the Desert Perpetual Epic Raid. If you still have questions or just want to have a convo, join my Discord, discord.gg/con, or leave a comment below. I'll make sure to respond to all the questions and comments, and we have a nice community in the Discord. If you want to see my squad competing, I'll be going live with my clanmates and friends on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/con. Thank you for all your support on this short series. If you haven't yet, check out the first 2 episodes with Saltagrepo and Haminator100. After my contest raid, I'll do a short update on the Epic Raid and the state of Destiny, so subscribe if you haven't already. helps me a ton and it's completely free. Thank you again, until next time.